All right, so we have solved each of the following equations. The first one is 4 to the power x minus 6, 2 to the power x minus 16 is equal to 0. So to be able to solve an equation that is in this form, just like we said yesterday, if you remember, make sure that it is at least, if you see 2 to the power x, make sure that everything that has got power x should be like a 2. So 4 can also be written as what? 2 squared, right? And then you have got x minus 6, you've got 2 to the power x minus 16, that is equal to 0. Now this I can also write it because I want to have 2 to the power x, so I can write 2, the x comes inside and then the 2 goes outside, then minus 6, we're going to have 2 to the power x minus 16 being equal to 0. So here we're going to say just let anything, let b be equal to 2 to the power x. So where there's 2 to the power x, will put b, but it is squared, remember. Minus 6, where there's 2 to the power x, b, minus 16 is equal to 0. So the product here is negative 16, the sum is negative 6. What two numbers can we multiply to get negative 16? If we add, we get negative 6. Do you know if any?
I think negative 2 and positive 8.
Okay, negative 8 and positive 2. So this is going to be b squared minus 8b. Let me start with the positive 2b, then minus 8b minus 16 is equal to 0. This is going to be b plus 2, negative 8 b plus 2 is equal to 0. So that gives us b minus 8 b plus 2 is equal to 0. That will give us what? B is going to be equal to,
Mm-hmm. B is equal to 8, B is equal to negative 2.
yes, b is equal to 8 or b is equal to negative 2. And then we come back, but we know that 2 to the power x is equal to b. Okay, so this is going to be 2 to the power x is equal to 8, or 2 to the power x is equal to the other value for b we found is negative 2. Now this one can't be solved. Like you can't have a negative base here and here is a positive base. You get to solve that. It doesn't have a solution for that one. So continue with this one, which is 2 to the power x is equal to 2 to the power 3, meaning that x is equal to 3. So this is the answer. We are good.
Yes.
Right. And then the other one on trig, solve the equation. Here we have 2 cos squared x minus square root of 3 sin x minus 2 is equal to 0. Given us the range for 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 360 degrees. Okay, so to be able to solve this one, you can't solve something that has got cos, it has got sin, it has got also a constant. So where there's cos squared, what do you think? What are we going to put?
1, 2 plus 2.
Uh-huh.
So that is 1 minus sine, sine, x squared.
Sine squared x, and then minus square root of 3 sine x minus 2, and that is equal to 0. So distribute the 2, that is going to be 2 minus 2 sine squared x minus square root of 3 sine x, right, minus 2 is equal to 0. So we're going to take these two cancel, right, and sine is common between these two, so I'm going to factorize out a sine. Actually, I'll out a negative sign. Okay, negative sine x What remain here is a positive 2 sine x. What remain here is a positive square root of 3. And this is going to be equal to 0. And then I'm going to take the negative sin x is equal to 0, or I'll take what is inside. So I'll take the square root of 3, the other side becomes negative, and then I'll divide by 2, or sin x is equal to square root of 3 over 2. We are good?
Yes.
We know negative sin x is equal to 0. You can divide by negative, it will still give us sin x being equal to 0. So to find x is going to be equal to sine inverse of 0. Now we know a sine graph. A sine graph starts from 0. Okay, it goes like this. It is going to pass at 0, at 180, and at 360. So that means the values of x, therefore, x is going to be what? 0 and 180. It's supposed also to be 360, but remember in the range, we can include 0, but we are not including 360. So I will not write 360 as a solution. So these are the two answers when you take this one. And then the other one here, to remain with x is going to be sine inverse of square root of 3 over 2. What is the sine inverse of square root of 3 over 2? I can't get you. So we'll use special angles. We have got this triangle.
It, it's 60.
It's kissed, right? Yes. So I've got 30 degrees here. We have got 60 degrees here. Then we have got a 1 here. We have got a 2 here. We've got square root of 3 here. So if you are talking of square root of 3 over 2, opposite over hypotenuse, that is 60. So x is going to be equal to, now wasn't this supposed to be negative? Let me see. It was supposed to be negative. Okay. Like if you take this thing this side, it was supposed to be negative. So this was a mistake I made. So even this one is supposed to be negative. Okay. So since it's negative, I'm just going to change a bit of what I'm supposed to do. Alright, so I'm going to write here. Now, since we are finding x, but you can see this is negative, I'm going to change it into a positive. So I'm going to say sine, instead of me using alpha, I'm going to I'm going to say alpha. And that is going to be equal to square root of 3 over 2. If you want, you can use anything or sine b. So let's find alpha. Alpha is going to now be sine inverse of square root of 3 over 2. You know that the sine inverse of square root of 3 over 2 is 60 degrees. Now, if you consider all students take coffee, sine, we want where sine is negative because this was negative. So sine is negative here and it's here. So therefore, we want x, not alpha. So x is going to be, how do you find angles in this quadrant? How do you do it?
You, you either add, I think,
You what?
have affirmative or minus.
So remember,
I guess that's the same.
every time you find angles, so if you find an angle in this quadrant, it will always be related to the x-axis. It means it's this one. So what we mean by finding the angle in the third quadrant is you want this. So you have already found this one here. So just add 180, which is this one. So it is always 180 plus the angle that you found in the first quadrant. In this case is 60. So this is going to be what? Is it 240 degrees? Now if you are in the fourth quadrant, okay, in the fourth quadrant, always remember the angle that you find is always related to the x-axis, this one. So the angle that we want now is up to here. So that is why to find that angle, oh, it's the 360 minus the angle that you found, which is a 60. So that is what? 300 degrees. So therefore, the solutions to this question, we have got x being equal to, the first one is 0, the next one is 60, next one is 180, the next one is 300 degrees.